Just 3 degrees can make the difference between snow and sleet, between wearing a jacket or not. In your daily life, this might not seem important, but a 3-degree rise in global temperatures would have catastrophic consequences. Heat waves, droughts, extreme rainfall, and fires. A 3-degree temperature increase is truly disastrous. The frightening part is that the world is already heading in that direction. Since the Industrial Revolution, the Earth's temperature has risen by 1.1 to 1.3 degrees Celsius. This is an issue that future generations will have to face. Children born today are up to 7 times more likely to experience extreme weather than their grandparents. If global temperatures increase by 3 degrees, what will their world look like? Rising sea levels, desertification. This is just the beginning. Hollywood has long enjoyed imagining the end of the world. While blockbusters like this are purely fictional, the reality we are facing could become exactly what we see in such movies, unless drastic action is taken to stop burning fossil fuels. In some parts of the world, the consequences of inaction are already evident. Slums in Bangladesh's capital are filling up with climate migrants. Minara, like many others from the Bola district in southern Bangladesh, has seen her home washed away by swollen rivers caused by heavier rains and melting glaciers in the Himalayas. She has lost everything, and the 1.1 to 1.3 degree rise in temperature has already transformed her life. It's one of the reasons why nearly 400,000 people move to the city each year, and climate models predict the situation will worsen. Climate scientist Yuri Rugel, who has spent the last decade modeling future climate scenarios for the United Nations, says that there is at least a 1 in 4 chance that we will hit 3 degrees by the end of the century if current policies continue. This is just one scenario. Another assumes all climate pledges are kept, leading to a 2-degree rise by the end of the century. But even in that case, there's still a 1 in 20 chance of reaching 3 degrees instead. No one would board a plane if there was a 1 in 20 chance of it crashing. A 3-degree rise would affect everyone. Even wealthy cities and developed countries wouldn't be immune. European capitals like Paris and Berlin would suffer from extreme heat waves. In New York, frequent storm surges could make parts of the city uninhabitable. Cities tend to magnify and intensify climate impacts. They're hotter than surrounding areas and are more vulnerable to flooding. Dense populations mean that disasters in cities affect many more people. Some cities are better prepared for these changes, but those that are not may become extremely difficult places to live. So far, many developed cities have avoided the worst, but rural regions, particularly small-scale farmers, are bearing the brunt. In Central America, where smallholders farm in the dry corridor, climate change is lengthening and intensifying the dry season. These farmers depend on crops like corn and beans, but conditions are getting harsher. Last month, nearly 2/3 of smallholders in this region were living in poverty. Droughts in Central America are now 4 times more likely than a century ago, and migration from Guatemala to the United States has quadrupled since 1990. Although not all of this is due to climate change, longer droughts would force even more people to migrate. In a 3-degree world, annual rainfall in the region could drop by up to 14%. Over a quarter of the world's population could experience extreme droughts for at least a month each year. Some places will face even worse conditions, like Northern Africa, where droughts could last for years. Without the seawall, the village will continue to erode, and in 10 years it may be completely gone. Rising sea levels also mean more storms and floods. Many more countries will face similar devastation.